2008, I helped organize the first ever inner game coaching conference. There was a PBS special, which unfortunately didn't August of 2012. Not a lot of people knew about, but there was a half-hour PBS tennis and golf special. And then, as I said, in 2012, co-founded the Inner Game School of Coaching, which is really for business coaches, not for sports coaches. And he's always done very well because of the books in speaking.
Now, you have gone into working with other sports teams. Can you get into a little bit about that? And
after a couple of years of learning the inner game of tennis and working with tennis players at a country club that I was a tennis director at, some of the golfers who played tennis and got a lesson from me in tennis really liked the approach and noticed how different it was and how easy it was for them to learn. So they asked me to come help them with golf, and that was kind of like, even though I didn't golf. So I was able to actually help them quite a bit, because what I had learned was how to facilitate learning. And so even though I wasn't an expert in golf and knew nothing about golf technique, I could still help them get out of their own way. I could help them overcome any performance anxiety they might have or tightness they might have. I could help them cultivate their awareness and balance and things that I knew were generally important. But I didn't know, like, the slope of the angle of the arms and how, all of that stuff. I couldn't really comment on that. And so that was my first taste of, like, being, coaching in another sport. And then I went from that, and I left the club in 2000 and went on my own, and I was invited to work with the Yankees for the first time in 2001, and I've worked with them like 5 times since with their player development group. And I've worked with the baseball teams like the Padres and the Mariners. When Pete Carroll is a big inner game fan, and when a year before he got the job at USC, I actually was close advisor and confidant and helped him clarify his coaching philosophy, because after getting fired for 2 times in the NFL, first with the Jets and then the Patriots, he knew he'd have only one more shot, and so he wanted to make sure he understood why he, was such a great defensive coach, but had failed twice as a head coach. And clearly he learned a lot, and I was the primary mental performance coach for the team during the 9 years he was there. And then we both happened to move at the same time. I moved to the East Coast, and he moved to Seattle. And I also created a corporate coaching training program that's based on the inner game principles in part. I've had many teachers since Tim, and it's all the same story in the end. So, basic inner game, simple framework, that is that we all have a lot of potential that we're not able to manifest. We have a lot of potential and innate skill that we're not able to manifest or express, and it's because we get in our own way. And that leads to a simple formula. If you want it, that's performance equals potential minus interference. So if you look at that formula, performance equals potential minus interference, that makes it very clear that if you want to improve performance, you can develop potential over time, which, everybody can do and takes time. But if you reduce interference, if you go from being really tight and having a performance anxiety and figure out some way to relax and to let go of that, you can have immediate impacts on performance. That's the basic inner game idea, and I've become better and better and better at understanding how to develop someone's potential and mastery, and how all along the way people get out of their own way.